a cordial welcome to our esteemed guest for following the break. Commencing the session 2, we invite Dr. Abdul Sir to deliver a talk on multimedia summarization for the multimodal input data.
So good afternoon everyone. I am Ashu Abdul. I completed my PhD from Changang University, Taiwan, and currently I am working as assistant professor at SRM University, Andhra Pradesh. So my area of research basically includes natural language processing, to be precisely speaking, into natural language generation, document summarization, and chatbots. So these are my three areas of research which I am focusing on. So today I will be discussing few research issues because I find many research scholars over here as well as you students are also here. So I will be discussing few research issues, few topics on summarization point of view. So this is the outline of my presentation. So I will try to wind up and you guys can ask me questions whenever you want. So basically what we mean by summarization is nothing but it is representing a document or a content in a brief manner with less human intervention. So what we do in natural language processing is we take a large document. So that particular large document we will try to represent it in a brief manner without losing the meaning or the context of that particular document. This is the main aim of summarization. Okay. So this summarization basically it's divided into two types. One is extractive summarization, another one is abstractive based summarization. So now extractive summarization means the summary what you have generated, the content of that summary is completely taken from the document what you have given. So the words and the sentences are completely present in the input document. Okay, based on the input document, your extractive summary is going to generate some summary. So this is called as extractive summary. Whereas abstractive summarization is we are going to generate summary with the words and sentences which may be present in the input document, which may not be present in the input document. So that is called as abstractive summarization. Okay, so here you can see from the example. So the original text, like you can see over here, like there is a brown fox jumped on the lazy dog, something, the sentence is written over there as an example. And the below sentence for extractive summarization, each and every word that are present in the extractive summary are presented in the original text. Whereas if you see the example of abstractive summary, the words, like the words which I have marked in green color, so these words are not present in your original text. Okay, original input text is not present. So this is nothing but your abstractive summarization. Okay, so now in this abstractive summarization, it tries to overcome some of the limitations of extractive summarization. In the next slides, we are going to look into it. Okay, so this is the literature of summarization. Basically, people started talking more about summarization from 2020. So initially, the model was sequence to sequence model, where we have used deep neural networks, to be precisely speaking, recurrent neural networks. Okay, in the recurrent neural network, people have used long short-term memory, LSTM to be short, and gated recurrent unit as part of your sequence to sequence network. So over here we are having encoder and decoder model. In addition to that one, we also have an attention mechanism which is added over the encoder decoder model. So after that one, people started talking about transformers from 2018 onwards. The first paper on transformers, attention is all you need. So in that paper, the researchers have introduced about transformers. So this is the paper where they talked about transformers, and from that there are multiple variants of transformers which have come, and people have started using as part of their research. So basically, first, what is encoder and decoder architecture? So basically, encoder and decoder architecture means it is going to take variable length input. Okay, it is going to take variable length input, and it is going to encode or represent that variable length input into a fixed length vector. For example, here in the encoder, in the RNN when we are doing the input, so there are n input elements we can give. Okay, so each input might have some different vector value. the size might be different. But when it is generating or encoding the input, what you are giving to the encoder, it will be represented to a fixed size of input. Okay, so that is the beauty of encoder and decoder. So whatever might be your input text, okay, the encoder is going to convert it into a fixed length encoded vector. So now this fixed length encoded vector, it is given back to the decoder. Okay, so the decoder, what it does, it is going to decode. The name itself says it is going to decode what you have encoded. Okay, so based on the decoder, the decoder is going to generate some output. So now this particular encoder and decoder architecture, what people have done, they try to represent the summarization problem as a sequence to sequence problem. So here what is the thing? The input sequence will be a variable length input document which you give to the encoder, and your decoder, what it will do, it is going to represent it with the help of the encoded representation into a fixed length small brief summary. So this is how people are using encoder and decoder architecture. So this is in other words, you also call it as sequence to sequence. So over here you use recurrent neural network. So in the recurrent neural network, you may use long short-term memory or gated recurrent units. Anything you can use it as per your convenience. So in addition to that one, the drawback of encoder decoder network is you are not going to point out what are the important attributes of the data. So whenever you give an input document, there might be some important attributes. So those important attributes you are not able to point, or you are not able to give attention to them. Okay, in order to give that attention, what people have done, so they tried to create a mechanism called as pointer generator network. So this is also a attention based mechanism where you are going to create a context vector over there, and from this context vector we are going to generate we are going to give some importance values to the important words. Okay, so for example, this is a classic example, guys. So in this example I will explain you. So if you see here, there is a sentence over here: Germany emerges victorious 2-0 or 2-0 win against Argentina on Sunday. So this is a sentence. So in this sentence you have a word called as 2-0. Okay, now this 2-0 is not a dictionary word. Okay, 2-0 is not a dictionary word, but 2-0 has some contextual meaning to it. 2-0 has some contextual meaning to it. So this type of words where you are having a contextual meaning, but these are not part of the vocabulary, you call such type of words as out of order vocabulary words. Okay, so now the researchers, what they did, they tried to enhance in the pointer generator network, which is also an attention based mechanism. Okay, enhance your traditional encoder decoder representation by adding the pointer generator to the context vector, where you are going to give importance to the words whenever it is required. Okay, that is the usage of your pointer generator network. Okay, so now the drawback of this pointer generator network is, here we are using some recurrent neural networks. So when we are using some recurrent neural network, so you will be using some LSTM or GRU. So in this LSTM or GRU, as the length of the sentence is increasing, okay, sometimes we are losing the context, even though we are creating the context vector, but there are many cases where you are generating a lot of duplicate or redundant values over there. Okay, and your model, what you are generating, it is becoming a very heavy model. Okay, it is at the end when you are coming out with the model, it is basically coming out with a heavy model. So to reduce that one, what people did, people have come up with an approach called as transformers approach. Okay, so in this transformers approach, what they did, they initially represent the words, okay, in terms of the embeddings. Along with the embeddings, what they did, they also considered the position of the words what are present, so which are not pointed in the encoder decoder representations. Okay, along with that one, what you have? You have multiple attention mechanisms over here. Okay, so in each multiple attention mechanism internally contains different self attention mechanisms. Okay, so in encoder decoder representation or in the pointer generator network, we used to have only one attention mechanism, whereas in transformers we are going to have multi-head attentions with multiple self attentions present inside it. So as a result, you can extract or you can give importance to multiple words, okay, more when compared to your traditional pointer generator or attention mechanism. So at the end, like the same thing happens over here. You are going to give the input. Okay, it is going to given as fed as an output to the decoder, and you are going to get the output. So this is what happens in the transformers. So now there is another version variation of transformers. What these people did, this is nothing but bidirectional encoder representation of transformer. So what people did from the transformer in the BERT, we call it in short as BERT. So in BERT, we try to separate the encoder part of the transformer. So which you can see in the previous slide. So here you see here like the input embeddings, okay, till position feed forward network and additional normalization. So only this encoder representation you are going to take it, okay, and you are going to take give it in the BERT, and it is a bidirectional one, whereas in the previous case it was a unidirectional. Okay, so only they have taken consider the encoder representation instead of decoder representation. So in this one, in the earlier transformers, we used only two embeddings. One is word embeddings, another one is a position embeddings. In this particular BERT, what they did, they have added another embeddings called as sentence and segment embeddings. Okay, the segment embeddings is also presented along with your position embeddings as well as your word embeddings. Okay, so basically it is going to take all these three embeddings where we are going to give to the bird, and again it is going to generate some. Like I told you, what is the use of an encoder? It is going to represent your input word into fixed size of representations. So you take that fixed size of representation, and below to it you are going to use another summarization layer. So this summarization layer is also a transformers model. So at the end you are going to get the output. So the comparison between the summarization model and what I have discussed, it's also presented in the slide. If anyone is interested, you can go through it. Okay, so now problem with the existing approaches which are listed over here. First one is like your length of the document, length of the summary is not consistent. Okay, next there are redundancy issues. Next, there is an information loss when you are going for encoding. Okay, so if there are some out of order vocabulary words, like I have told you, so there is an issue with that one to handle how to handle that one. Okay, and apart from that, when your length of the sentence is getting increased, okay, so your reference, okay, the graph you can see your accuracy is also getting reduced. Okay, your accuracy is also getting reduced. So these are the four limitations. Apart from these four limitations, in the existing architectures, you don't have the mechanism of transfer learning mechanism. Okay, now what is this transfer learning? Transfer learning is nothing but you have an old model. From the old model, you are transferring the knowledge to the new model for the new data. That particular mechanism was not there in the previous BERT models. Okay, so now this is one of the limitation. In addition to that one, the another one is all these models, they all work only on the textual data. Okay, all these models work only on textual data. They don't have any other modality data, suppose image data, or you are going to have audio data, because nowadays when we see any news document or newspaper, it is a combination of both video, audio as well as textual content. Okay, so if you are going to summarize a news website, so we need to have some mechanism which also understands audio, which also extracts some features from the video, and which also extracts some features from the textual content. So this particular thing is not presented in the existing approaches. So for that purpose, what we did, and there was also something called as coherence issues also over there. Okay, the logical representations were missing in the existing approaches. So basically this is a problem statement. What we can define is, so we need to have a system which is multimodal, as well as it should also generate, or it should also contain transfer learning mechanism. So to that one, so what we did, so we are presenting a model to you. So this is a model which we have, it's our model. So what we do is like basically we take a multimodal input. So the input consists of audio, video, text and images. Okay, we are going to convert them into the embeddings, particular features we are going to extract, and these feature embeddings along with the positional embeddings we are going to give to the encoder. From encoder we are going to give to the decoder. Now once the decoder, what it does, it is going to generate the vector. Now here this vector, you see it's a cycle over there. Basically what we are doing in the cycle here in this sense, it is basically we are having a transfer learning mechanism. Okay, so you can use any transfer learning mechanism as like you can use generative adversarial network or reinforcement learning. So, so any of your transfer learning mechanism you can use over here. So once you generate the transfer learning mechanism, we have summarization module. So and apart from that, we also have something called as image selector and the summary. So
This second step, the third step,
which you mean?
extracting text. So from all the multi-modal inputs, only text is extracted.
Yeah, we are going to convert it into text.
No image, no audio,
nothing. So at the end we need one representation to be finalized. So all we are going to convert it into one representation. From that we are going to convert it into some embedding format. So because we have already tried with this approach, so this is already a previous paper. So basically when we are extracting the text and doing the multimodal data fusion, what is the issue over here is we are facing some sort of coherence issues over here. Okay, the logical representation between your image and the textual content is missing when you are going for multimodal data fusion approaches. Okay, so for that purpose, what we thought is, why not we convert everything into one modality, then convert it.
How will you convert, say, image into text?
You have multiple image labeling algorithms. Like you give it to ResNet image label, it is going to convert simple image to a ResNet. For ResNet 50, it is going to convert it into a text. Yes. So those are all matured models which they give better accuracy. So this is what we are talking about. Okay. So basically when we talk about multimodal input summarization, so basically this multimodal input summarization can be categorized into two. So one is like multimodal input summarized into a textual output. The second one is multimodal input summarized into a multimodal summary. So in multimodal summary you have both image or other modality data as well as the textual content. So this is our results what we are obtained. So if you see here the ROC score for a proposed model, okay, compared to the existing networks, okay, when you are using sequence to sequence with LSTM or your traditional BERT or transformer model. So we have got a better ROC score and precision and F1 score compared to the existing approaches.
How are you getting image generated from text?
Sorry, sir?
You have converted everything to text.
Yeah.
You are going to convert image, some part of it?
See, sir, like what we are doing is, if you see this particular diagram, so we have something called as image selector. So within the images what we are having, okay, what we did is like, if we are having 4 to 5 images, we already have the text for those images. So whichever context is matching with the output summary, that particular image we are picking from that. So you might be asking like how we are going to match the context. Then for that one we are using cosine similarity. So when you are using a cosine similarity, it is better than your traditional approaches, where cosine similarity converts it into a vector. Okay, you are going to take an angle between your cosine image text and the output text. So that particular angle you are going to get the better this thing. Okay, so this is the dataset model. So what are datasets we have used? So you can find the datasets and the corresponding links are also mentioned over here. I think it's not clear in this thing, but in the slide it is clear. Yeah. So these are some publications what we are having. So some few of them are conferences and patents along with. So this is our patent which we have, and this is for English language. So we also have a similar one for Indian languages also. Apart from that, we also have a patent on quantum based document summarization, multimodal summarization. So this is another thing which we are having. So the future work what we are going to talk is like how to include multilingual content, because currently we are only focusing on one language, how to include multilingual and how to incorporate multimodal and multilingual content into the work. That is what we are doing.